I wanna ask a question. I guess this is for like up and coming dropshippers. Um, I want you to just try to shed some light on. I know I've asked it before, but I don't know how to rephrase it. Um, what do you think are the mistakes that a dropshipper? It's a cliche question, but what are the mistakes they could avoid? And I think a lot of people don't really look at these kind of advices. I hope they do, because it's better to avoid the mistakes than just get in there and then you find yourself in a big mess. So what mistakes?
It's a great question. And although you might say it's cliche, it's a very important question. I agree with you entirely. The more prepared you are, the higher chance of success, in my opinion. So to answer the question, I would say first and foremost, and I know I keep repeating myself, don't think of dropshipping as a get-rich-quick scheme. Don't think of it as like something that's going to make you wealthy very quick. First and foremost, it's going to be a lifelong journey, and so, whether you're 15, whether you're 30, whether you're 50, whatever, you're going to have to think about that this is going to take time, because in the beginning, you're going to be learning the skills. Like you're doing something completely different to probably what most of us are ever used to from our day-to-day jobs. You're having to learn marketing. You're having to learn how to build a Shopify store. You're having to learn what the definition of a winning product is and how to market it. So to me, those are the things that I look at. And so, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, but back to the topic. The most important thing that I notice is don't just think that you can find a product marketed on Facebook ads and it's just going to work. You have to do a lot of research. So a lot of research is definitely, to me, the foundation of the success that I have in my businesses today. I do a lot of research on the products that I market, so that I understand how to connect with your audience. People, the biggest mistake I sort of see in that space is people just think that they can market a product, let's say using Facebook ads. Facebook will just find them a customer and bam, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. But it requires a lot more than that. The other point I would also have is that although it's a low barrier entry business model, you still need to have a good amount of cash in reserves. So I've always said that to have at least $1,000, my preference is at least $2,000. I know for a lot of people that sounds like a lot, so I understand. But when you're building a business, $2,000 in the scheme of things is a dip in the water. And so I always say to people to have some cash reserves, okay? Because you are going to make mistakes. You're going to lose money. You're going to stumble. It's going to happen. So having cash flow so that your business doesn't just topple overnight is one of the things that's very important that I would strongly recommend. So those are sort of the main points that I would say at this stage. I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I want to go back to the marketing aspect. The way you say is that marketing is king. It's very important that you get yourself out there, even though you have this product or service. If no one knows about it, it's pointless. It's almost pointless. I think that's one of the things that here at Wiio we understood, that we might have the service or the product itself, but many people might not really know about Wiio. And what we're trying to do is push, the brand Wiio as much as we can. That's what we're trying to grow. That's one of our main focuses here at Wiio. So I want you to try to how did you create the brand name Ricky Hayes?
I've never had that question. That one's a good question. I wouldn't say I have much of a brand name. First and foremost, I'm one of the small fishes in this space, let's be honest. But basically, like, I guess if I'm going to answer that question as adequately as possible, I would say that I just started a YouTube channel with no expectation of anything. I watched my first video about a year ago, and I literally cringed. Like I nearly like slapped myself. It was so bad. And I just, it's sad. But anyway, I just built it because I just wanted to, my experience in my whole career and throughout life has always been that life is hard, whatever path you take in life. And so I very much wanted to reflect that in my business, that life is never easy. It never will be. And I've always wanted to hold my head high, that when I tell people about business and being in business, that I can hold my head high and say that I'm just being honest to the fact that that I tell people up front that, you know, drop shipping is not easy, e-commerce is not easy, and I didn't realize that I guess I built the brand around that sort of reputation. But I just always wanted to tell people the truth, because I just wanted them to have a fighting chance, that the more prepared that you can be from the beginning, the higher chance you have a success, rather than sort of being misled. So that's sort of my approach to that. So that, I guess that's sort of how I built the brand. In terms of the marketing, it basically was just YouTube. Like my personal brand side, I haven't done a huge amount of marketing. I'm more focused on my actual like e-commerce businesses, software and all of that. So that's a bit of a different topic. Sorry.
All right. That is very clear. That is very clear, sir. So I understand that, you know, you are very honest. You try to be as much honest as you can, as I'm hearing when you explain yourself, concerning that last question I just asked. But I still want to know, what do you think you owe to your success? That's one question. What do you think you owe to your success? Because of course, you're now a brand name. Even though you don't wanna, or you don't see yourself as one, I believe a lot of dropshippers know or notice there's a person named Ricky Hayes, and he's somehow the sensei of dropshipping right now for a lot of people. He's a professor of it, because you do teach a lot of people some hacks into this dropshipping industry. So what do you think you owe your success to? I hope that question is clear.
It is. And I'm personally quite flattered. I didn't know that myself. But anyway, so I would say what I would owe my success to, honestly, would be to your first question that you asked me. If I were to sum things up in one word, I'm very ambitious. And I'm extremely competitive. I hate to lose, and that's where I become very ambitious. And I like to win. I've always been like that since I was a kid. And when I played sports, I always hated losing. I'm a bad loser. Anyway, so I guess what that meant for me is that it drives me, it fuels me to evolve, adapt, learn, improve. And, you know, it took me 6-12 months before I really saw proper success, right? And so to me, it was all about what's driven me to success now, is just being with having that ambition that I want to live life, I guess, by my rules. I want to be, you know, work from home. I want to be free to be able to sleep in and stuff. And that drove me to be like, well, look, no one's going to do this for me. You know, no one's going to just throw money my way and make me happy in that. I have to do it myself. And so that drives me to, you know, learn marketing, learn business. When I learn it, continue to learn, take that on and push myself past my boundaries. So I hope that sums up sort of how I answer the question. I know I get a bit off topic, sorry.
No, that's I'm actually getting other things for myself. You talked about learning. You learned this. I think people don't realize. I know a lot of people who are doing dropshipping, you know, they don't really. There's no degree for this. You have to learn it for yourself. But within itself, there's still business principles, you know, that you can get from college and introduce them inside of job. And I think people do not should commend you for how far you've come, and yet you didn't do any you didn't do any marketing in college. I don't know if you did. I didn't see anything in my research where it says, Ricky, and now you like this marketing king, or should I say, guru in a way of dropshipping, because when you explain yourself, you owe it a lot to marketing in terms of, what you see dropshipping as.
Yes.
Is basically putting. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I apologize. I feel very flattered again. But yeah, truthfully, I've never been to university. I didn't even do any marketing courses or anything, like in terms of formal marketing courses here in Australia. I'll be honest, I didn't even do that well at school. I found it pretty boring. And, I basically was one of those that just got a job, and that's sort of how I was brought up: get a job, work, and that was it. And, I guess I just started getting into marketing, and I found it very fascinating. It's a fascinating thing of using technology and also psychology. Marketing is just very much a sub-derivative of psychology. And I've always loved technology. And so using these tools like Facebook ads, Shopify, it's just infinitely fascinating to me. And and marketing, I just wanted to learn more. It's like, this is so fascinating. Like, how are these other people able to do marketing so well? I want to be as good as them. I'm sure I can do this very well. And so I, as I said, come back to my ambition that I'm very competitive. So I'm like, I can beat that person. And so I just drove myself to continue to fail. Like my journey is a journey through failure, I would say. My success has come through an infinite number of failures, and nothing more, nothing less. And each time through each failure, I just continue to learn it. If I can learn one thing from a failure, I consider that a win in my eyes. And so that's sort of how I look at it. And just with marketing, if there's one thing I always say to people is that once you learn marketing, you can do it on any platform. You can do it in any medium. Marketing's all the same. It's about the ability to sell people. And the only difference between, let's say, Facebook and Google is how you market to them. But once you understand marketing as a foundation, doing it on different platforms becomes very simple. It's just understanding the uniqueness of each platform. That's sort of how I look at it anyway.
All right. So I guess another thing we should pick out is that they need to understand you can't market the same on each platform. You have to have or understand, each platform and how to market on it. I believe someone will take something from that. But there's something you're saying, and you're saying learning. I'm hearing learning. How important is it to have to continuously keep learning something new as an entrepreneur, as a businessman?
Yeah, I would never put a price on how much it would be to learn, if you ask me. I would say it's the most important. Every day I'm still learning things. Although, like what you said, like, what is it? Like, I'm a marketing, what was it? Whatever you define it as.
Marketing genius. Let's call it a genius.
Genius. There we go. There we go. It doesn't mean I don't have my shortcomings. I have a lot of them, like anyone. And so, it's about acknowledging those shortcomings and learning from it. And that's what, I approach the exact same as anything in business and marketing is always things are changing. So you have to change with it, learning new things. And, whether I'm learning about a new marketing technique, a new marketing platform, a new product that I'm marketing, business, taxes, whatever, you're always having to learn. And so, in business, you're just constantly having to, as a whole, you're just constantly having to learn. And personally, if you ask me, I apologize for the sound of my dog. If you ask me, I just love it. Like, if there's one thing that I love the most about being in business, it's the opportunity to learn new things. I look at when I was in my corporate positions in the past, and I was very much just pigeonholed, and this is what you do, this is it. And I found it very boring. Whereas now that I'm in the business world, I'm just like, there's so much to learn. I just can never not learn an infinite amount. And it's just so rewarding. So that's why like I put such huge emphasis on just always learning, because you find it very self-gratifying and rewarding, if you ask me.
It's interesting how you say you enjoy it. Like you get a sort of a satisfaction from it, which is something many people might not, consider. Because, but this is leading me to ask, how much of that is causing you to realize that, business is not necessarily about you, but what the customer wants. Sometimes we want our businesses to have our personality. That's understandable. But at the same time, it's about what the customer wants and needs. And it's not so easy to shift into understanding that, for some people, because everyone everyone thinks they have something different, something new to offer, something that has, their flavor in it. But then when they have to come to terms with the fact that, it's actually more about the customer rather than themselves, it becomes a dilemma now, and it becomes a new revelation. So how would you comment on that? Would you agree that, it's now more about the customer than yourself?
I entirely agree. So I'm very passionate about this topic. So, I'm
glad you are.
To me, I've always looked at it that in any business, even before like dropshipping become very big as where it is today, customer is always first. Customer will always be first forever on. That's what business is. The foundation of it is, to me, customer first. And you as the business owner, whatever, you might get your ego or whatever in the way, but at the end of the day, it's the customer that wins. And, so I've always looked at it. And as I said, that's always how it's been since the dawn of time. This is nothing new, if you ask me, that customer always comes first. And if you find that you put customers first above yourself, they'll reciprocate that. That's how we're able to see these e-commerce businesses boom and be so successful, as an example, because they have a great product, which is fantastic. They start the business really well, but they focus on making sure that their customers are right up there. And, whether that involves answering emails within 5 minutes, fast shipping, and a great product, whatever that may be based on the various business, customer will always be first. And I'm always an advocate for customer being first. Like my focus in all my businesses is always to put customers first, because I look at it that if I'm a customer, or if, let's say, you're a customer, how do you want to be treated? And as soon as I take that perspective of, if I'm a customer, how do I want to be treated? Well, I wouldn't want to be treated like a piece of crap, or then I wouldn't want to do it to others. So that's simply how I look at it.
All right, that's very clear. I also agree with you 100%. I mean, I think that's just the basis of business. Business is actually just finding a problem and solving it, and then getting remuneration for that. I think that's what people should understand is, where they see a problem, they should think of a solution, and that becomes the opportunity of business. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make perfect sense.
All right. On that note, we as Wiio are basically a dropshipping fulfillment agency. So I just want to ask, what do you think of your dropshipping, and what is it that we could do to add value to dropshippers? As you're talking about, solving certain problems, and like I'm saying, we are basically a dropshipping fulfillment agency. So in your view, we just want to get a perspective from you. What do you think of you, and what could we add? What value could we add to dropshippers?
Well, I think that you have great ties to Steve Tan, first and foremost. So he's a great guy. So I think that you do a great service. I've used your app and used your service, do a great service. Like in my opinion, I think it really helps dropshippers get that extra level to really give that great customer service experience. Like from when I started with just AliExpress with, 3 to 6 weeks, now it's 1 to 2 weeks, and I think that's astronomical if you ask me, the work that businesses like yourself do. So always hats off to always the work that agencies like yourself do. If I were to say to improve, the main thing I would personally say in terms of improvement would be, more warehouses, which I presume is more in your pipeline, to have around the world so that dropshippers can successfully market to more regions with faster shipping times. Because I know that's probably your biggest question. And really aside from that, that's what I would say. Like you got a rock solid service, in terms of the shipping, the product, the customer service. To me, I think it's just more about having more warehouses so that you can distribute your products more. So that's sort of what I would say from my perspective.
All right. I believe most of the things that you've talked about are spot on, and is what we are trying to work on. And in the coming future, we definitely you'll be seeing that in the coming future. Thank you. Thank you for the other compliments as well. We try our best. So moving on, I want to get to agents now. How would you advise a dropshipper to choose an agent? Because it's not an easy task. Some agents might not be as trustworthy. Should they even have an agent? What's your take?
So I guess we're talking on the topic of, let's say someone's already getting a good amount of orders and they need to fulfill those orders. That's sort of where we're talking. Yep.
Yes.
Just to clarify. So it's a tough thing to find a good dropshipping agent. There's plenty of them out there because dropshipping is so big now. There's I look at it that dropshipping is so big. There's so many sourcing agents out there now that consumers, us, the business owners, we win. So you have the choice here. So in terms of finding one, the first and foremost that I recommend is trying to find a sourcing agent that's actually in China. Like Shenzhen, Shanghai, those areas, because I've used them where they actually can physically go to the warehouse. Even if you have to pay them a bit of time, they physically go to the warehouse and inspect and audit the products. In relation to, sorry, I probably got a bit ahead of myself there, but in relation to, do you need one? I would say yes. They can, as you're growing your business, they can help you with being on the ground, get you different suppliers that might have cheaper prices. They might have better deals. It might be a better quality product. They might be able to, if you're scaling really high, you might have supplier issues. So having multiple suppliers so that you can have multiple chains to make sure that you're able to consistently fulfill orders is a very important thing, because, warehouses still might only have a limited quantity. So having multiple suppliers through one sourcing agent can really help you just to focus on growing your business. So I always recommend a sourcing agent. They're very experienced, most of them. And generally sorry, do you have something you wanted to say, pardon me?
No.
Oh, sorry. And generally where I recommend people to go is I personally just say Upwork's a very good starting point. If you want to start on Upwork, I personally don't use Fiverr. I've never used Fiverr. But anyway, but I would just go there and, just put up a job posting. And it is a more expensive thing, but it's very much worth it, where they can help you customize your product. That, as I said, building a dropshipping brand is really important now, if you ask me. Having your logo on the product, a custom box, a thank you letter, a thank you card. They can help you achieve all of that, where you can still be anywhere in the world and they'll do all that physical work for you. And so I think it's very important, and it's just taking your business to the next level. If it allows you to differentiate yourself and provide a better service than your competitors, then I'll always strongly recommend that to people, because it gives you more opportunity to take market share.
All right, that was very insightful. Very grateful for the answer and the insight that you're giving us on that, on giving or rather the dropshipper getting an agent or not. I personally feel I would need one, especially when you're starting out. I mean, you wouldn't really, know where is what. I would also advise someone to get an agent. Um, so moving on, I don't think we have much more time. I hope that this interview was enjoyable for you. But before we go, I just want to ask you one or two questions. What words of wisdom would you give to an up and coming dropshipper? And the second question is, how many times did you feel like you want to quit? And and how did you overcome that? How did you quicken yourself, rather? Sorry for lack of a better word. Quicken your spirit.
I might need to get you to ask me the second and third question in a second, because I have very short-term memory when it comes to these things. Okay. So I'll start with. And sorry, actually, on that note, can you repeat the first one again for me?
There's just two questions. I just want to know what words of wisdom can you give to an up-and-coming dropshipper?
Yeah, so as I've sort of said earlier, like, go into this with that it's a lifelong business, like that it's a lifelong journey. It's not going to be something where you can do a couple hours a week and then just cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. That it takes a lot of time and perseverance. I strongly recommend everyone that gets into dropshipping to not be discouraged. I think it's a fantastic opportunity, but I also side on the side of caution that it's going to take you a lot of time and effort. So always take the perspective of that in the beginning, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Don't be discouraged by those mistakes. Those mistakes are opportunities to learn and evolve. And you will find that over time, you will build a skill set. You will build a repertoire of skills that will allow you to confidently build a business with certainty. So I always say to people that, look at it like if you did go to college or university, hypothetically, and, you did it for 3 years, you could learn a marketing degree in 3 to 6 months if you put your head down and really just focused. And you might lose a little bit of money in the short term or make a lot of mistakes, but you'll come out of it with a very strong mindset, skill set that'll last you the rest of your life. I look at it that I'm so lucky that I've been able to learn all of these skills, and I'm 29 and I have skills that are going to last me the rest of my life. And so look at it that these skills will always reward you in the long term. I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I believe someone is going to get something out of that. All right. I feel like I almost forgot the second question as well, because I never wrote it down. I just felt like it's probably a need for someone. Let me try to rejog my memory. Okay. On the note of aspiring dropshippers, I just want you to, yes. When was it that you felt like you wanted to give up?
That was the great question.
Yes. Thank you. And how did you come out of that, feeling? How did you quicken your spirit, your sense of self to say, you know what, let's get back in there? And I believe that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I like that one. Anyway, but so I'm just trying to think of the main ones. So in relation sort of to that, I remember when I was early in my dropshipping adventure, I guess, and I was about 12 months in, and I just, even at that sort of stage, I was getting sales, I was learning, but I was not achieving the results I really wanted. Profitability was still difficult because I was making far more mistakes than I was making successes. And it all just sort of compounded at this one point where I just pretty much wanted to, I remember it vividly. Pretty much just like my mind shut off. I didn't want to do any work. I lost motivation. I lost drive. And it was a very difficult sort of dark point in my journey. And I'm actually very thankful to my wife for supporting me through that. You know, like having those support channels is so important, whether it's friends, family, your loved ones, whatever that may be. She actually very much supported me through this, that, you know, we'll keep working through this, just keep at it. And, you know, you're doing so well. And as a result, like it allowed me to rebound. And I did see what allowed me to see that, I guess, that light at the end of the tunnel was that I knew that, you know, business has been around since the dawn of time. Many people have been very, very successful, from, you know, small people to people with billions of dollars, etc. So I knew that being successful in business is anyone can be successful. It's just about persevering and how successful you will be. And so I just thought, look, if all these other people can do it and they're average Joes like me, you know, they started somewhere, they started small, they made a billion mistakes, and they got to where they are. All I need to get over myself and, you know, basically just take the perspective of, look, this will keep happening, but as long as I keep persevering and pushing myself, learning and evolving, then things will start working in my favor. And so I just looked at it that everyone on earth is all the same. It's just about who's willing to go that extra mile. And so I just thought, look, I'm going to be that person to go that extra mile. And so that's sort of what allowed me to get out of that rut.
All right, that was an awesome on how you like to you chose to be that person who's willing to go the extra mile. I think that's powerful. I think that's something many of us should have. You know, is the other thing is that you were always telling yourself, you know, and encouraging yourself that, you know, let's just get back out there. And you spoke a lot on support. It's very necessary that, you know, you would have you got the support that you needed. And hopefully, you know, that we hope that the other dropshippers who are still aspiring, they surround themselves with people who are more supportive of what they're doing, and they would eventually succeed in whatever they're trying to do. All right, Mr. Ricky Hayes, I think this is it for today. I am so grateful for you coming and having this interview with us. I hope this is not the last one, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think I got a lot from it. I'm gonna watch this tape over and over again because I think there's a lot of notes I need to take. But other than that, I hope you also enjoyed it. Is there anything else that you want to say to us?
No, like it's been an absolute pleasure and honor. Like I absolutely love these, flattery included. I love the flattery. Keep it coming, right? But like, most
of them.
It's been a lot of fun. I always enjoy these, and I very much appreciate the privilege of being on this and having the opportunity. So thank you very much myself. You know, you guys do a great service. I love it. And helping many people to get opportunities in life they may not have been presented with. And so I just wanted to say thank you to yourself and your team as well for the opportunity today. So thank you very much.